So let's begin with tutorial 5. It is on inner product spaces. So we see the first question. It says find the projection P of vector B onto the column space of A by solving these two equations. Okay, A transpose AX equal to A transpose B and P is equals to A times X. Okay, so you see here that we have to find P. So to find P, in order to find P, we need A and X. Okay, so A is already there with us, and X we will get from the first equation, and then we multiply the two in order to get the desired vector. Okay, so you have to just do matrix multiplication here. Okay, so clearly A transpose into A is this, and then you go on to solve this to get x1 and x2. Okay, so after multiplying you get this, and this gives you two equations. From there you get the value of x1, x2, and once you have that, we know from here that P is equal to A times X, and we have your A already, so we just substitute it in order to get P. Alright, so this is the first question. Very simple question. Let's move on to the next question. Next we have problem 2. In this problem, it's given that P is a real square matrix with P square equal to P. We have to show that I minus P square is also equal to I minus P. Okay, so square of a matrix is equal to matrix itself. Alright, so that we have to show for I minus P. Suppose P is the matrix of projection onto the column space of A. Okay, then find the space onto which I minus P projects. So by A, we are continuing with the notation of A. The matrix A is as given in problem 1. Okay, so let's begin. So first we'll calculate I minus P square. So this we already know it is this. So here we are assuming that P square is equal to P, right? So we just put it here, and that gives us P minus P goes away, so it gives us I minus P. So you can see that when we square this matrix I minus P, we get the same matrix I minus P again. Okay. Next, in order to compute the projection, so P is given to be the matrix of projection. All right. So find the space onto which I minus P projects. So we'll be using a result which says that if Q is a matrix of projection mapped onto a subspace V, right? So this is given to us. Then I minus Q is the matrix of projection map onto V perp. Okay, we already know what is this. These are all the vectors in the ambient space which are perpendicular to V. By perpendicular, we mean that the inner product is equal to 0. Okay, so we will see why this happens. So for any vector V, look at this, V minus I minus Q of V, it gives us this, and it gives us exactly QV. Okay, and QV is in V, which is perpendicular to V. Alright, so this proves this result, and now we move on to use this result to find out the space onto which I minus P projects. So we know where P projects, it projects onto the column space of A. So what do we do in order to find for I minus Q? B is this, so we just need to find V perp. Yeah, V perp will be the desired space that we want. So V perp is what? Span of all these vectors such that the inner product with these two is equal to 0. Yeah, so the inner product is the usual inner product. So here this is equal to 0 and this is equal to 0. It gives us this vector because A and B turn out to be 0. So V perp is exactly equal to this, and hence span of this is the space onto which I minus P projects by the result that we saw just now. Okay, so I hope that problem 2 is clear as well. Next, problem number 3. So problem number 3 says let the columns of A be linearly independent and let P be equal to A times inverse of A transpose A into A transpose. We have to show that P is symmetric, and we need to show that P square is equal to P. So here A is any arbitrary matrix A. Okay. First we show that P is symmetric. see that P transpose is equal to the transpose of the entire thing, but we know that A times B transpose is equal to B transpose A transpose. So using that, and it is valid for any number of matrices, finite number of matrices. So we use this property for the very first equality out here. So here we'll get A transpose transpose, which is A itself. And for the second one, we get A transpose A inverse 4 transpose times A transpose. Yeah. And we know that transpose and inverse commute with each other. So we use that out here. It gives us this A times A transpose A whole inverse. Okay, because here again we use AB transpose as B transpose A transpose out here. So this gives us this. Now, so that's what we wanted, right? P is symmetric because P transpose is equal to P itself. We started with this. Next, we will show that P square is equal to P. So look at this. P square is equals to just P times P. So we just wrote that in the first line. Next, we see here that here there is A transpose into A whole inverse times A transpose A, which is equal to identity. Product of a matrix and its inverse is equal to identity. Alright. So by that we get A times identity times this and this. So that gives us exactly ends up in here we are, yeah. This is exactly P as you can see from here. So this finishes problem 3. Next we have problem 4. Here we have some real work to do in this problem. So here the vector space called continuous functions with the domain 1 to e, we define inner product of two functions to be integral ranging from 1 to e log x fx dx, fx gx dx, right? So if fx equal to root x, we have to compute norm of f. Okay, and we know that norm of f is square root of the inner product of f with f itself. So we begin by computing this integral using integration by parts. And this is a very well-known formula, the integral by parts. So here we choose u equal to x and b equal to log x. So here we get inner product of f and f, that is equal to this. So you can easily solve the integral. It turns out to be this, and just put the limits from 1 to e. Okay, and that will give this. But is this the norm of f? Is this the norm of f? No, it is just the inner product of f and f. We need to compute norm of f. For that, we need to take the square root. Right? So this gives us norm of f. Next, the part B says that we have to find the linear polynomial gx that is equal to ax plus b, that is orthogonal to fx equal to 1. Which means we have to find a and b such that when we take inner product of f and g, it turns out to be 0. Okay. For that, we need to compute the inner product of ax plus b and 1 and then equate it to be 0 and see what all conditions are forced upon a and b. So this inner product is defined in this way at the very beginning. Again, we use integration by parts. So it gives us log x times this. So we are taking this to be u. So u times integral of this minus integral of derivative of u into integral of b. All right. So here we substitute the limits. Here we substitute the limits. Okay. Before that, we need to do one more integral over here. This is just normal computation. This will be ax by 2 plus b. So when we do that integral, it turns out to be this. And when you put the limits from 1 to e, it gives you this. Okay, so we have to find out a and b such that the inner product is equal to 0, which means a and b such that this particular expression is equal to 0. Okay, so which means this is equal to 0, so you can choose any two scalars, any two numbers a and b which satisfy this, any two real numbers which satisfy this. So I've taken a to be equal to 1 and b to be equal to this. Yeah? So any such combination would do. Next, we move on to problem 5. So here we have to find the projection matrix onto the plane x minus y minus 2z is equal to 0. So it says the algorithm to find this. Yeah. So what do we have to do? We have to choose two linearly independent vectors, u and v, in the plane, and let A to be the matrix whose column vectors are u, v. And then we have to find P. This will give us the desired projection matrix onto the plane this. Yeah? So we need to catch hold of two independent vectors in the plane. So how do we do that? How is this plane described? This plane is exactly the null space of this matrix. Yeah? And then in the last tutorial, in tutorial number 3, we had seen how do we find the linearly independent vectors in the plane. Yeah? So the vectors in the plane will be this. This was the computation that we did. Here we can see that this is pivotal corresponding to the two non-pivotal columns. We have y and z. They are free variables, and this will be dependent on y and z. So we write it in terms of y and z, and then we plug out y and z to see that it can be written like this. Which means that the space is the linear span of 110 and 201. This gives us two linearly independent vectors in the plane. Okay, and then what we are supposed to do, we have to construct matrix A. So A is the matrix whose column vectors are u and v. So let's do that. Okay, so the basis of the space is given by this. Next, we take the matrix to be A matrix to be this. Please ensure that you're putting it column wise. Okay, and once we have that, we get A transpose into A, which is again just product of two matrices. And then we compute A transpose A whole inverse, which gives us this. Okay, that's the projection matrix P, which is defined to be this, is exactly equal to this. Yeah? So you just have to plug in the values of A transpose A inverse, which we calculated now, and again A transpose. So you just multiply to get this. This is the desired projection matrix. Okay. Next, look at problem B. So what does the part B say? Let E be a vector perpendicular to the plane L, is this same plane basically, and find the projection matrix Q, which is equal to E transpose upon E transpose E, and we need to show that P equal to I minus Q is the matrix of projection onto L. Okay, so first we find the matrix Q, and then we see why this happens. So since the row space matrix is this is orthogonal to the null space as above we have seen, so therefore we may take E to be equal to this. Is any unit vector, yeah, which is perpendicular to the space. Therefore we get this Q. Q is calculated this way. So we take first E into E transpose upon E transpose into E. Okay, so when you do this, you get this matrix. Okay. So therefore P is equal to I minus Q is equal to this. And here we see here that we have to also prove that P equal to I minus Q is the projection matrix onto L. And why is that happening? That is happening because the result that we saw in the initial problem. That if Q is the projection matrix of a space, then I minus Q would be the matrix of projection onto the space which is perpendicular to the original space.